I'll ask you: why don't eggs make jokes?
Why don't who?
Why don't eggs make jokes?
Because they can't speak.
Wrong.
They have
You have
eczema.
another try. Why don't eggs make
Eczema. They
jokes?
have eczema. I don't know.
Eggs. Oh, that's a good one. No, but not that. It's because they'll crack up, guys. Guys, it's scary back here again with.
Trizah Aduda.
Right, so we have a Yale undergraduate student who's Kenyan, who actually even read in an 844 school. Today we're going to be asking some questions about the application process, how's it being in Yale, and also how's it just being like a US, for an international student in the United States, with the whole political landscape and how everything's going on. But before I go into that, could you just introduce yourself to the viewers, Trizah?
Yeah, sure. My name is Trizah Aduda. I'm a Kenyan born and raised in Nairobi. And I just graduated from Yale University with a degree in economics and also did a bit of French. And yeah, and now I was just teaching for the Yale Young African Scholars.
The first question I'll ask you: why don't eggs make jokes?
Why don't who?
Why don't eggs make jokes?
Because they can't speak.
Wrong.
They have eczema.
You have another try. Why don't eggs make
Eczema.
jokes?
They have eczema. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good one. No, but not that. It's because they'll crack up, guys. Eggs. Okay.
No.
But on a real note, okay. Could you, if you were to summarize your application, because you have to do it through the Common App, how do you summarize the application in 3 words?
How my application was?
Yes, your application.
I think the process is stressful,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to keep it authentic and vibrant. Yeah.
Okay. And can you go like a bit more into depth of like what you wrote about and how you'd advise like other students who are watching at home, especially in the 844 system, which we know is a very like demanding system in terms of time and also attention. How do you think they should go about this whole application process? When do you think they should start? What should they start looking into? And any advice that you can think of?
Yeah, so I think one, I will say I took a gap year. So I finished KCSE in 2019 and then I didn't go to school in 2020. I was just focusing on my applications. And that's because the application process, as you said, is intense and it requires a lot of just taking time to really put in the effort. And then I you still, even though I was like not in school and doing anything actively, I still had to like manage my time really well, keep track of like all the applications all the schools I wanted to apply to, because there's also the SAT prep that you have to like really focus on. So yeah, I would advise people to manage their time well. That's so key to being successful in this process.
What's one weak spot that you thought would hold you back, but surprisingly you still got in with in your application?
So I wasn't like top of my class, but I did get an A in KCSE, but I don't think I was like top of the country or stuff like that.
Oh, I
So
forgot to ask. What did you get? What was you did the SAT, right?
I didn't.
You didn't do the SAT.
No,
You
it was
went just
during
optional.
COVID time. So
Ah.
things were being like my SATs were cancelled 3 days before I was supposed to do
Oh,
them.
okay.
So I went to test option.
Ah, okay. You were saying the weak spot, right?
Yeah, so I thought my grades would be a weak spot, and also being test optional, I thought I was at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
But literally, I couldn't do anything in that situation. Um, but I was surprised that they picked me.
And last question about application. What is the biggest myth about getting into Yale as an African international student?
I think what comes to mind is sometimes people think they have to have like a struggle story. So like
Oh.
when you don't have a struggle story, you feel like you're disadvantaged.
Mhm.
And to the extent that I know some people who like fake to have struggle stories.
Yeah.
I think what is helpful is just like looking at your real life and trying and see how you can package it in a way that is interesting to read.
Yeah.
And I always say you don't need to fake anything. You don't need to fake struggles when you live in Africa. I know this is controversial, but like there are things that you face.
It's
like
true.
one, sometimes like steamer in a hotel, like the
Yeah.
lights go off, and like if you really wanted to write a struggle story, even in your normal life, you can find some struggles. It's just
Oh,
that
so
you
there are
don't
things you think
perceive
are
them as
normal.
struggles. Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't
Uh-huh.
have to have a struggle story. Just be passionate.
Passionate.
Yeah, if you're passionate about the stuff that you're writing about, the passion will shine through. Yale loves really passionate people.
What a big word. Passionate. So you have to be passionate in your application. Show them that you're a passionate person. And you talked about having a gap year, right? I think it's something I'm also interested in knowing about. Would you advise students to generally take a gap year to focus on it? Or do you feel like it's something that if you had prior knowledge, you wouldn't have had to take it? And if someone is supposed to would take a gap year, what would you advise them to do during that time?
So, primarily, why I took a gap is because I was in a boarding school and we didn't have access to the internet. So, I couldn't do my applications in 2019 for that cycle because I was in boarding. And then, two, I was studying for like the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, the KCSE. So, that also takes up a lot of time. So, I was just not confident in like my ability to balance it too. I was like, I would rather do really well in my KCSEs and because that would like increase my chances of like getting into a school later on. And yes, I do advise people to take gap years if they want to. Go for it. There's a lot to be done like outside like the academic
I hope you're
landscape.
listening, mom.
So there's a lot to be done outside the academic landscape. I also have friends who during uni do take gap years just to like work and explore other things. And there's a lot of value in that. You gain a lot of like work experience, real world experience. And even when you finish uni and you're looking for a job, the kind of like work experiences you get during gap year still count as work experience.
Right.
So there's some jobs that tell you, oh, it's they advertise themselves as like entry level jobs, but they require like 2 years work experience. And like, where will I get that work experience? You get them from like taking gaps and exploring
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good answer. I think you've given clarity to a lot of students out there who are wondering what to do next, right? Now, let me ask you a few questions about life on campus, right? Your first day at Yale, right? You've gotten the acceptance letter, you've funded that flight, you've got to the airport, now you're inside Yale. How was that? How was that experience?
Oh, wow. It was so surreal. I'd never been to the US before, so this was my first time and I was like traveling alone. So everything just seemed so much bigger than what I was used to. The roads were so big, like 6 lanes. I was like, what?
6 lanes.
Yeah, they were so
That's
big
like,
and
and
like,
that's like almost that's most roads.
yeah,
Or like one
and
thicker super highway.
yeah, because I also like landed in New York. So landing in New York, and New York being my introduction to America, was just like, wow, everything is so big.
Yeah.
But I reached campus. Everyone was really, really nice, really kind. We have this like the advisor given to international students. He knew my name even before I introduced myself to
Oh.
him. Yeah, he was just like, "Hi, you're Trizah Aduda from Nairobi." Kenya." I was like, "What?" Yeah, so people were so welcoming. So that really helped me acclimatize to the new environment. I was just so happy and so overwhelmed. I couldn't believe that my dream had become a reality.
Wow, that's. I feel like I'm already there now.
Yeah.
What was the real life on site of Yale versus your expectations knowing that it was an Ivy League? What was the contrast between that? Good and
You
bad.
know, you know when people ask me this question, I don't have an answer because I didn't have expectations.
Ah,
I was just like very like this is a new environment. Let's see what it holds, and so that's why I have nothing to measure my experience to because there was no idea of Yale that I had in my mind. I just knew it was going to be amazing, and for sure it was amazing.
okay. The next question is, if you were to go back to your younger self, I know you've been there for some time now. If you go back to your younger self, first year student, right? What advice would you give your younger self who just entered the gates of Yale?
I think in first year I was overwhelmed by a lot. Like
Yeah.
I think just the change, so I was a bit more like reserved. I think I would try out more things. That's what I would do.
Also, try more. You tell young teachers try more, do more,
Yeah, yeah.
have fun, right?
Yeah, put yourself out there because I think also in terms of like forming friendships, there were like one or two people who I met and like were not vibing, and that's
Yeah.
like really discouraged me. But I wish I would have like done more. I mean, I did that like in my other years, like second year, third year, fourth year. But in my first year, I was a bit more reserved.
Okay. Now, asking about, let's say, talking about the actually getting there, right? We know you had to go through the whole visa process. Was this your first time traveling to the United States?
Yes.
Oh, it was okay. That's perfect because a lot of people are worried about the whole visa access thing, right? Because once you get admission letter, the next stage is, are you actually even going to be allowed in there? So how was that whole experience for you getting a visa as a student? What do you feel like you'd advise students to do? What should they prioritize? How should they present themselves to, of course, increase their chances of getting that visa?
Yeah, I will say like what the visa system is just a broken system, and there's nothing really that you can do to make sure that like your application is bulletproof. You just make sure like your documents align, like there's nothing fishy, like things don't match up in your documents.
Yeah.
Give proof of like your offer letter, like financial aid documents if you have that, or how you're going to pay, how you're going to afford school. Everything should make sense, and they shouldn't have like reasons to like be concerned about like your ability to like go through the 4 years. But I also do say, just if you're religious, pray before you get there, because this thing literally depends on who you meet
Yeah.
at the desk. If you meet a nice person, it will go well. If you don't, then you could have everything, but they'd still deny you the visa.
I think that's a good answer, you know. Like, of course, it's up to chance, but there's a few things that you can do to make sure, like, your chances are good. Like, as you said, make sure your documents are right, you know, get everything in order. Try not to lie. I say, and if you are, make sure you do it well. But,
Don't lie, they'll catch
yeah,
you.
don't lie, don't lie. She said, don't lie. I say, do it my wisely.
Yeah.
Next question. Don't worry, you're almost done. But what is the weirdest Yale tradition you've ever experienced? Because we've had some very strange things on TikTok. So what
What
is the
have you
weirdest
had?
one?
What have you had?
I've heard about this one where
Okay,
I
let me
don't
just tell
know.
you the weirdest one because I don't want to confirm or deny that they happen. But the weirdest, but I really like it as well, is during was when we have finals.
Yeah,
So that's like the exams of the semester.
yeah,
Every single night of finals,
yeah,
we gather like in this place called Cross Campus, which is
yeah.
like the middle of campus, and people just go there and scream. Not
People
everyone,
just
but
go
if you
screaming.
want, yeah. And it's right next to like the main libraries, so you could be like studying and grinding out, and then at 12 midnight,
You just hear.
yeah, you go outside, gather across campus, and just scream, and you let the rage out, and you can go back to the library or go and sleep.
That's interesting. The one I had in mind, I'm still going to ask you to
Yeah.
confirm it. I've heard something about a naked run.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
How would you say Yale has already changed you from the time you got in to where you are at now? I know you're still growing, but how has Yale changed you?
The best thing about Yale, in my opinion, is the people, and the people have really changed me. I have friends from like all walks of life, and that has really changed how I view the world, how accommodative I am.
Yeah.
I've become better at conversations, and I've really learned how to network. I network like crazy. I love talking to strangers as well. That's
Yeah.
definitely that Yale brought that out in me because I just realized like people are so cool and like it's so cool to hear their stories,
Yeah.
and yeah, for those are the
Okay.
days that it has changed
Okay.
me.
I think that's all for today. I
Thank
know we've had a
you.
long day, right?
Yeah.
Some of us want to sleep. Some of us almost didn't do this interview. But I really thank you so much for being here. Is there any last words that you want to give the audience as a final word, just to like close it out?
Yeah, I think I will say just have the courage to follow your dreams. You might fail at it, but like really, rejection is redirection. And someone once told me that like if you're not receiving rejection, like if rejection is not a normal thing that you experience, then you're probably not reaching for the opportunity for as many opportunities as you should be.
Okay, thank you so much, Trizah. We hope you have very much success, you know, with the whole everything that's going on in the university. It's a tough time being an African student. Thank you so much for representing not only Kenyans, but the whole continent, showing them that we do actually have something here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll be hearing more from you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time to do this. We know that you have a very busy schedule. She's actually one of the best instructors. I don't know if you got that.
Thank you.
And we love you for that.
Thank you.
But that's all. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, make sure you got something from this.